You are now listening to 1 Timothy 4:13 Project with the undershepherds of the Cathedral of Praise, Philippines, Pastor David E. Sumrall and Sister Beverley Sumrall with Pastora Alisha Sumrall-Lozano.
Good evening. Welcome again to Project 1 Timothy chapter 4. Thank you again so much for our time together. It's beautiful to get to come to your homes every night, and it's a great privilege for our family to sit down and just teach you the Bible every night. This all began when I was teaching some pastors in Ghana, and I said for the first time in my life, sheep don't eat once a day. Sheep need to eat daily. So every night we want to sit down and lay out a little bit of a buffet for you. We're not trying to do exposition, but we're just like following Nehemiah, where it's Ezra just read the scriptures and gave the meaning. So let's go to Pastor A for some wisdom, and then we're going to pick back up again in Exodus chapter 23, verse 10.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Pastora A, and today we are stepping back into the Book of Proverbs, where God's wisdom meets daily life, and we will get started. Can you believe it? Today we are finishing Proverbs chapter 3. How quick is that? Well, let's take a look at this last one verse together, but boy, what a verse. Proverbs 3 verse 35, "The wise inherit honor, but fools are put to shame." Now, the wise inherit honor. This phrase is an important phrase in the Bible. It shows us the principle that wisdom leads us to honor. In the context of Proverbs, wisdom is not just head knowledge, but it is a deep, honoring, reverent relationship with God. We keep hearing the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom, right? It is relationship. But what happens to fools? Well, fools are held up to shame. The complete opposite. This phrase highlights the fate of those who reject wisdom, specifically godly wisdom. In biblical terms, a person is a fool if they disregard or ignore God's commandments to live a life instead that is messed up. Then shame is mentioned here, can come both publicly, privately, personally in their life. Wisdom is not just intellectual knowledge. It's not just head knowledge, but it is the practical application of God's truth. And we've talked about this over and over again. So wisdom is that practical application of God's truth in our daily life. It leads to honor. It leads to respect from others. And it also leads to honor and respect from God to you. So living foolishly without regard for God's wisdom leads to shame. It leads to disgrace. And this serves as a warning to seek God's guidance in all our decisions, in all our acts. Is that something you do? Do you consult God in all that you do? Just as an inheritance is passed down from parent to child, living wisely leaves a legacy of honor for future generations. Consider, what legacy are you building through your actions? What are you building up for your future, for your kids, or for your spiritual kids? We are actively supposed to be working on seeking God, to seek His wisdom, to seek His plan. We are to regularly evaluate our choices and actions to ensure that they align with biblical wisdom. So let's be wise in the eyes of the Lord. Amen. Again, I want to ask you, is this something you are doing in your life? Are you applying good and godly wisdom? Because that is going to bring blessing into your life and not harm. Thank you guys so much as we wrap up chapter 3 already of the Book of Proverbs. We are going to be starting tomorrow on chapter 4. But right now, let's head over to Pastor Sumrall.
Our Old Testament passage tonight picks up in Exodus chapter 23, verse 10. Now again, remember, he's teaching people how to function as a nation, how to function as a people. They've been individual slaves for 400 years, and he's trying to teach a nation how to come together. Verse 10, "Plant and harvest your crops for 6 years, but let the land be renewed and lie uncultivated during the 7th year. Then let the poor among you harvest whatever grows on its own. Leave the rest for the wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and olive groves." Now, what is God doing here? He's not just doing something to help the poor, though we'll talk about that in a moment. God also recognizes that the land must rest. In those days, there was no fertilizer to replenish the nutrients of the soil, and if you weren't careful, you could over-farm a piece of property and turn it into desert. You could take all the nutrients and all the chemicals and all the water out of a land. So he says, 6 years, plant your crops. On the 7th year, it just lies there uncultivated. All the nitrogen that would come in from the rain or from the snows, that would go directly into the land. The land could recover. The land's been working hard producing fruit. So now the land can recover. Now, the other thing this does is there will be some harvest that grows naturally from seeds that when you were harvesting fell into the ground and stayed there in the winter season. And now in the spring season, they begin to grow. He said, now the things that grow naturally, he said, you don't touch that. You give that to the poor or to the wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and your olive groves. Now, what is he doing? He's giving the poor an opportunity to get food. But that opportunity required some work. When you see God helping the poor back here in the Old Testament, you don't find handouts. You find opportunities being given to follow behind the sheaves and reap the gleanings, to come into a field that has been uncultivated. It's the 7th year. That way God provides for the poor, but he provides for the poor in a way that leaves them their dignity. If you just support people, Paul taught young Timothy, if you just support widows who are young enough to get remarried and serve a family and work with a family, he said, if you do that, you're just going to create laziness. And this is what's happened in the welfare state around the world. People just get their ayuda and they don't want to work. So he says, when you help the poor by leaving them an opportunity. Verse 12, you have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day you must stop working. This gives your ox and your donkey a chance to rest. It also allows your slaves and foreigners living among you to be refreshed. Now, beloved, part of the purpose of the Sabbath is for everything among us to have some rest, including the animals among us. In those days, they didn't have tractors and things. They had oxen and donkeys and horses and camels and people working for them. So he said, even the people who work for you need a day of rest. Now, sometimes I've talked to our overseas workers in other countries, and they're not allowed even a single day of rest. But more and more around the world, that is being stopped. And people who hire our people overseas, even as domestics, are required to give our people 1 day a week to rest. You need to always make sure the helpers in your home get a day a week to rest. Verse 13. Pay close attention to all my instructions. You must not call on the name of any other gods. Do not even speak their names. I said, I don't even want you mentioning the names of these demon gods. Verse 14. Each year you must celebrate 3 festivals in my honor. First, celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days the bread you eat must be made without yeast. Just as I commanded you, celebrate the festival annually at the appointed time in the early spring in the month of Abib. For this is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. No one may appear before me without an offering. Now I want you to notice God wants you to celebrate what he's done for you. Celebrate the past miracles. And then he says, no one may appear before me without an offering. Now, that is something I've always lived with in my life, that whenever we come before God, we bring an offering. I was that way with my great uncle. I was that way with my father. I was that way with my mother. Whenever I came home, even if I was only home for 18 hours, I brought mom and dad a gift. I brought Uncle Lester a gift. Whenever I go to visit Brother John, a spiritual father, I always bring him a gift. Whenever we come into the presence of God, we should always make sure we bring an offering. Second, celebrate the festival of harvest when you bring the first crops of your harvest. Finally, celebrate the festival of the final harvest at the end of the harvest season when you have harvested all the crops of your fields. At these 3 times every year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign, the Lord. And notice, 3 times a year, every man must appear before the sovereign God. This is how Jesus was raised. You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offering together with any baked goods containing yeast. You don't mix the blood and yeast. Yeast in the Bible is a type of sin. And do not leave fat from the festival offerings until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of your first harvest to the house of the Lord your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Now, notice, bring your very best to God. Never give God your leftovers. I remember many, many years ago, when we first started trying to do buildings, I asked people to bring whatever they didn't want and we'd sell it and put it in the building program. And I remember being so convicted afterwards, Lord, they're bringing your junk, and I taught them to do it. You should never bring your junk. You should bring your very best to the Lord. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Now, I don't understand the science behind that, but even to this day in Israel, they don't mix meat and milk in the same meal, even in the same restaurant at the same time. That's why at breakfast, there's no meat. And at dinner, there's no milk. Oh, no, Pastor, when we were with you in Israel, they had cream for our coffee and they had ice cream. That's all fake milk and fake ice cream, okay? Verse 20. See, I'm sending you an angel before you to protect you on your journey and lead you safely to the place I have prepared for you. Now here's angelic protection. God had an angel assigned to protect Israel. Pay close attention to him and obey his instructions. Do not rebel against him, for he is my representative, and he will not forgive your rebellion. See, angels don't forgive. Now you need to think about that. Only God forgives. But if you are very careful to obey him, following all my instructions, then he, this enemy that is with you, will be an enemy to your enemies, and I will oppose those oppose you. For my angel will go before you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, so that you may live there, and I will destroy them completely. Now notice, if we will follow the angels that God has assigned to us and lead us in life, God will be an enemy to our enemies, and he will oppose those who oppose us. Is it any wonder that Gideon said, whose side are you on? Are you on our side or are you on our enemy's side? This was very much a part of Jewish thinking. If they would obey God, God would be an enemy to their enemies. Verse 24. You must not worship the gods of these nations or serve them in any way or imitate their evil practices. Now, beloved, sometimes I think in the world today, we've allowed what the King James Version would call strange fire into the churches, imitating the worship that demons practice. And beloved, we can't follow demon religions. We can't bring the practices of demon religions into God's house. He said, don't serve them or imitate them. Instead, you must utterly destroy them and smash their sacred pillars. So within the nation of Israel, idolatry was not to be tolerated. You must serve only the Lord your God. If you do, I will bless you with food and water, and I will protect you from illness. Now here's the blessings of serving God. There will be no miscarriages or infertility in your land, and I will give you long, full lives. I will send my terror ahead of you and create panic among all the people whose lands you will invade, and I will make all your enemies turn and run. So I want you to notice the 5 blessings of serving God. He'll bless us with food and water. He'll protect us from illness. There'll be no infertility, long life, and our enemies are chased off. That's pretty cool. Verse 28. I will send terror ahead of you to drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hittites. But I will not drive them out in a single year, because the land would become desolate, and the wild animals would multiply and threaten you. I will drive them out a little at a time until your population has increased to take possession of the land. Now, beloved, you need to understand this principle of the promises of God. This is a huge principle. God's promises are fulfilled based on our capability to receive. God can't do it all for you when you're not capable of handling it. It would just be wasted and destroyed. Verse 31, I will fix your boundaries from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea and from the eastern wilderness to the Euphrates River. And I will hand over to you the people now living in the land, and you will drive them out ahead of you. Now, I taught you one principle about God's promises. God does it as our capabilities grow. As we are capable to receive, he gives us more of the promise. But the second principle of God's promises, every promise has a boundary. You know, when people act as if there are no boundaries to the promises of God, I'm sorry, there's a boundary on everything. Every doctrine has a boundary. Every principle has a boundary. Every truth has a boundary. When truth is stretched too far, it becomes an untruth. And every promise of God has a boundary. Verse 32, Make no treaties with them or their gods. All right, this was Joshua's failure. They must not live in your land. This was Joshua's failure. Or they will cause you to sin against me. If you serve their gods, you'll be caught in the trap of idolatry. Now, great principle. Bad company corrupts good morals. Companionship can destroy your walk with God. We have to learn to be acquaintances with the people of this world, but our friendships should be believers. Because when we form close companionships with the people of this world, they become a cause. They become a cause of sin. They're the root behind it. Chapter 24, verse 1. Then the Lord instructed Moses, "Come up here to me." I like that. Come up here on the mountain to me. Come hang out with me. And bring along Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of Israel's elders. All of you must worship from a distance. Only Moses is allowed to come near to the Lord. The others must not come near, and none of the other people are allowed to climb up the mountain with him. Then Moses went down to the people and repeated all the instructions and regulations the Lord had given him. All the people answered with one voice, "We will do everything the Lord has commanded." So here is a national promise to obey. Then Moses carefully wrote down all the Lord's instructions. Early the next morning, Moses got up and built an altar at the foot of the mountain. He also set up 12 pillars, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent some of the young Israelite men to present burnt offerings and to sacrifice bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Now that's really interesting. Young Israelite men. This is the next generation. Verse 6. Moses drained half the blood from these animals into basins. The other half he splattered against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it out loud to the people. Again, they responded, "We will do everything the Lord has commanded. We will obey." So again, here is a national promise to obey. Then Moses took the blood from the basins and splattered it over the people, declaring, "Look, this blood confirms the covenant the Lord has made with you, giving you these instructions." All right, so here's the blood of the covenant. Verse 9. Then Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel climbed up the mountain. There, wow, what a verse. There they saw the God of Israel. They saw God. Under his feet there seemed to be like a surface of brilliant blue lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself. And though these nobles of Israel gazed upon God, he did not destroy them. In fact, they ate a covenant meal, eating and drinking in his presence. Now, they ate a covenant meal. This is, I don't even know how to describe this. This is the representatives of Israel sitting down with God, making a covenant. They ate a covenant meal in the presence of God. In fact, they ate a covenant meal, eating and drinking in his presence. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me on the mountain. Stay here, and I will give you the tablets of stone on which I have inscribed the instructions and commands so that you can teach the people." Verse 13. So Moses and his assistants set out, and Moses climbed up the mountain of God. Moses told the elders, "Stay here and wait for us until we come back. Aaron and Hur are here with you. If anyone has a dispute while I'm gone, consult with him." Then Moses climbed up the mountain, and the cloud covered it. And the glory of the Lord settled down on Mount Sinai. Now, I want you to notice that. Moses walked straight into the glory. But now, before he did this, he knew he'd be gone for a while. He had Aaron and Hur taking care of the needs of the people. Now, leaders always replace positions. When somebody is going to be out of place for a while, leadership needs to replace these people for a while. Verse 16. And the glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day, the Lord called to Moses from inside the cloud. On the 7th day, on the day of rest. To the Israelites at the foot of the mountain, the glory of the Lord appeared at the summit like a consuming fire. Then Moses disappeared into the cloud as he climbed higher up the mountain. He remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Now, I want you to notice something. To the Israelites at the foot of the mountain, it looked like a consuming fire. But to Moses, right up there, it looked like a cloud. Viewpoint affects perception. Let me say that again. Your viewpoint affects your perception. Moses knew there was no consuming fire up there. He walked into the cloud. From down below, it looked like a consuming fire. Always remember that your viewpoint does affect your perception. Now, beloved, we've learned some very, very beautiful, beautiful promises tonight. Experiences that I cannot even imagine. To go up the mountain and sit down in the presence of God and have a covenant meal and see God. I mean, like off the charts amazing. Not off the charts amazing for them, off the charts amazing that God would want this. That God would love them so much He would just say, I want to sit down and have a covenant meal with you. I want to have time with you. You're leaders. I've given you this responsibility of leadership. And God says, I want to sit down and spend time with you. I want you to learn the principle of leadership from that. In the modern Christian world, pastors pull away. They don't even know their staff. They don't even know the other pastors on their staff. And they do this because they say, familiarity breeds contempt. I've heard that since I was in Bible school. Still don't believe it. Respect is something that people choose to give. It's not something that can be earned. Contempt is something that is in the arrogance of people's hearts. It's not something that you deserve. But here is God. He said, I want you to see me. I want you to know me. As leaders, let me encourage you. Welcome the people who help you into a relationship with you. Welcome the people who work with you to be with you. To me, that's one of the most amazing things that we learned today. Going through this passage again and again, God says, come on up here and spend some time with me. How many times He called him to Himself. Great principle of leadership. Father, I lift you all of our leaders tonight. I ask in Jesus' name, let there be no fear of the people that they lead within their hearts. Let there be no fear because of past hurts and past slander and criticisms. Father, let all of our leaders open their hearts to the people. And let the people open their hearts to all of our leaders. In Jesus' name. Good night. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow night.
Thank you for joining us today on the 1 Timothy 4:13 project with the under-shepherds of the Cathedral of Praise Philippines, Pastor David E. Sumrall and Sister Beverley Sumrall with Pastora Alisha Sumrall-Lozano. Catch their podcasts on all leading podcast platforms and listen through DZBR 531 or tune in online at www.bible.radio. The Cathedral of Praise is a church fully committed to Jesus Christ and His Word. Our main campus is located at 350 Taft Avenue, Metro Manila, Philippines. For a full list of COP campus locations and service schedules, visit us at cathedralofpraisemanila.com.ph. Tune in again tomorrow for another inspiring reading from the Old Testament and Proverbs.